What's going on, everyone? All right, so today let's talk about why it's important for the Snyderverse to get restored. But before we get into it, hit that subscribe and let's check this out. All right, so look, when it all comes down, when Zack Snyder was there with the DCEU, there was money. People were going to the theaters, products were moving, merchandise was selling, all that good stuff. All right, let's look at what happens. The moment that WB turned their back on the fans and decided to get away from Zack Snyder, and then they brought in Walter Hamada, and then we got introduced with the Hamadaverse, and then that transitioned and it morphed into what we have now with James Gunn, right? With Peter Safran. What has happened when it comes to the movie division of DC with their cinematic universe? Everything has been flopping, and it continues to sink, and it's going to tank more than what it's been before. And don't come at me with other excuses, because I'm done of hearing all the excuses. The fact is that when David Ayer and Zack Snyder were at WB and they were doing the cinematic universe, things were much better than what they are right now. The reason why I say that is because you, the fan, the customer, the consumer, wherever you are around the world, you made it possible if you fought for release the Snyder Cut. You remember that? And what do we have now? The Snyder Cut. We won. We made that possible. There's no excuses. The only valid excuse is that we have the Snyder Cut on digital and physical media. That's all that matters. We won. So victory is on our side. When WB and all of the executives were against us, saying that it would never happen, and that, they wanted to move away, what do we have? The Snyder Cut. And that's what matters. All right. Everything after with Zack Snyder, everything has been going down. Birds of Prey, Shazam, Aquaman 2, Joker 2, Black Adam, and the list continues. Blue Beetle, Creature Commandos, and now Peacemaker. And you might be like, oh, the movies are different from what they're doing with their streaming. You're right. But here's a fun fact that I'm about to give you right now. When it comes to the cinematic universe, we, the fans, the customer, and the consumer, kept our wallets closed. This is why I've been saying it for a while. You don't give us the Snyderverse, we're not going to give you any money. And it's been happening. Time after time, we, the fans, have proven to the studio and to the fake fans that we are the majority. We made it possible for all these films to tank. We made it possible for the studio to be in the situation that they're in right now. Because here's a fun fact. And you might be like, well, the streaming, you have no impact on it. Oh, you want to know how? Look at this. All right, let's look at this. All right, let me remind you, because in November 2nd, 2023, this is coming. The source is from Entertainment Weekly. We have Casey Bloys, whatever you pronounce his name. He's the CEO and chairman of HBO Max. So what did he do? Oh, that's right. He admitted, and he's apologizing back then, that he used fake bot accounts to create fake viewers and the numbers for, the audience and stuff like that. And he said that it was a big mistake. So therefore, if you have the CEO confessing and saying that, yeah, they did it, and he's apologizing for that, what is he telling you? Yeah, we faked the numbers. So therefore, again, proving to you that WB and all of this shill media can fake it. They have the ways, they have the teams, the programmers, and all this, so they can fake these numbers, including streaming. And this right here is part of the problem. All right. The reason it's important for the Snyderverse to get restored, and it will be, because when we were doubted and they said we would never get the Snyder Cut, we have the Snyder Cut, and that's what matters. Because we, the fans, came together and we kept on asking for it. And even Zack Snyder himself has said it, that it's thanks to the fans for putting pressure on the studio that we finally got it. And that's what matters. The reason why I say it's very important for us to get the Snyderverse restored is because Zack Snyder's Justice League opens the door to a new timeline. We don't know. None of us know what Justice League 2 and 3 contain from Zack Snyder. And I love that because he's ready for it. It's just a matter of time that we will see what he's going to reveal to us and he's going to show us once he's back at WB, which we already know that he's back because he's coming back for the 300 prequel. Now, the reason why we want the Snyderverse to get restored is because there's a lot of things that just left up in the air by the studio, such as what we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League, what we saw with Darkseid, with Superman, with Lois, with Batman, with Joker teaming up, Batman teaming up with Deathstroke, the remaining characters of the Justice League. We need to know what happens, how it unfolds, and how everything wraps up within the Snyderverse. We need also the Air Cut because that's also connected into Zack Snyder's Justice League. We have the same Steppenwolf, the same design, and everything that was going to connect. We need Ben Affleck's The Batman. We also need Man of Steel 2 and 3. We also need Wonder Woman 3. And we need Cyborg, his movie. Now, what Zack was going to do also with The Flash was something different. We were supposed to get a Flashpoint. And, of course, we saw what we saw with The Flush, that's not what we wanted. And the studio thought that by them bringing in Ben Affleck to do his little cameo and Michael Keaton to take the center stage, it was going to save him, right? And look at how bad that movie tanked. We made that possible because, again, we the fans kept our wallets closed. And this reboot that they're trying to do with James Gunn has not been working. And when they started to do a soft reboot within the DCEU, once James Gunn came on board with and to do the Suicide Squad, what happened with that movie? It flopped. It tanked. And that's it. You can't go back and fix that. The damage is already done. That was already a preview of what's to come now next with Superman. Once Superman tanks at the box office, which we know it's going to, WB is going to have to go back and reconsider and say, hey, we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to go back. This is why we're hearing a lot of rumors coming out left and right of things shifting. And I've been telling you, things are shifting. And they're going to continue to keep shifting left and right because everything is uncertain. Look at the stocks of WB. They're all falling down to the ground. They're in the low numbers. They can't surpass the numbers. That is bad. Investors don't want to spend money with them anymore. They've already lost the consumers because you can clearly see it. The movie of Superman hasn't even released and merchandise of it is already going on clearance and going on sale and appearing at Ross stores. That's bad. When Zack Snyder was there, that didn't happen. Everything was on the road to success. The problem was the studio. They kept on getting in the way. We the fans know what we like and what we want, and we will stop at nothing because we will get it restored. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 will return soon, and the studio is going to have to accept and know that that's what we, the real fan, the real customer, and most of all, the true consumer wants. Because when you give the fans what they want, you succeed and you win. When you turn your backs and you don't give them what they want, you're where you're at right now. Nothing is working. Absolutely nothing. And again, WB continues to bring in people from Marvel, and that doesn't work. We the fans know what quality is. And you have the minority of fans, also known as the James Gunn fans, that are trying to turn this whole DC into a Marvel formula, a joke upon a joke, and it's all become a circus. This is why it's very important for us to stay united, keep on fighting for restore the Snyderverse, because it is going to happen, and in due time we will see it. Hit that subscribe, drop your comments, and until next time.